At the Doing for Business Forum, government leaders stressed the importance of public sector reforms to boost Uganda's business climate. Evelyn Anite, the Minister of State for Privatization and Investment, commended the CEDP's success in increasing land share titles from 22%. This shift, funded by the World Bank, strengthened security of tenure, allowing businesses to use land as collateral for financing.
Was presenting, and the first point that I have here as government to put as a reform to ease the doing of business is titling land. This has increased from 22.4% in the financial year 2021-2022 to 30% in the current financial year 2024-2025. This provides security of tenure and ease access to credit for the private sector through use of land as collateral.
The government also reassured investors, particularly local businesses on public land, that they should not face undue pressure over lease payments. New rules enable local investors who commit 30% of land to access mortgages, while foreign investors contributing 60% can do the same.
Now, for those of you who are sitting on government land that we lease to you, I want to make it very, very clear to you that pay nobody any money for getting permission to mortgage your land. Because government, under the leadership of President Museveni, has mandated the Minister of Finance to actually give you permission to mortgage your land. If you're a Ugandan investor, and at this point, you are allowed to mortgage after you've put 30% of your capital that you had indicated when you are acquiring the land, that you would invest 100%, but when you invest only 30%, you are allowed to get permission from government of Uganda to mortgage your land. So nobody should fleece you. It is free of charge, and will give you the permission to go to the banks and actually borrow against the land that government has given you.
Anite also praised the Uganda Registration Service Bureau for streamlining business registration, allowing companies to register in just one day. Despite this progress, she noted the challenge of registering businesses in Uganda's informal sector, which makes up to about 80% of all enterprises. But URSP is now focusing on rural areas to boost registration.
I just want to encourage you that 80% of our businesses are still informal. And why they're informal is because they are still in the old school of thought that it is very difficult to get a business registered. So I am aware that you started going regional. Please go to the districts, because investors are happening everywhere. Ugandans have woken up that they want to invest. They are doing the businesses in the backyards of their homes, but we need them to be formalized such that they can be able to qualify for access to credit. Because if their businesses are informal, they cannot also benefit from government incentives, neither can they benefit from credit lines that are available.
The forum highlighted key infrastructure developments, including expanded road networks, the electronic case management system, and the National Business Development Forum, all aimed at easing business operations.
Over the last 10 years, government has championed a range of reforms to essentially ensure that Uganda is a competitive country and our business environment is supportive of our private sector. We've also been taken through some of the major client charters that have since been formulated, and gathered with us here is a cross-sectional representation of the private sector, and they have begun the process of validating whether those client charters are actually reality or they are words on paper.
However, challenges persist. Stakeholders raised concerns about limited access to finance, high regulatory compliance costs, and weak policy enforcement. Anite specifically called out on corruption within bureaucratic systems, stressing the need for greater accountability.
These are some of the unfortunate things. You know, as government, we try to put systems in place, but unfortunately, our systems get corrupted by corrupt people. And unfortunately, the corrupt people can't also be moved away because they have certain connections. But I just want to tell you that God is with us, and I have changed the strategy because I cannot cry about the corrupt. I will always succeed.
Representatives from several government agencies, including URSB, the Ministry of Lands, the Uganda Revenue Authority, and others, presented updates on administrative reforms designed to improve the business environment.
Level of digitization of the land records, 2013, that's when we're starting. Now we are at 94% and completing. The average annual land search, we had 300 searches done in 2013. We are talking about 386,000 done by now. The ministry zonal offices operationalized, we had 6, and now we are talking of 22.
As the forum concluded, there was a strong commitment to ongoing dialogue and collaboration between the government and private sector to drive economic growth and create a more sustainable business landscape in Uganda. David Ijjo, NTV Tonight.